When we were dreaming. It had been 17 years since Daniel last walked the long stone path leading to Ashmere College, nestled in the misty hills of northern England. A soft drizzle fell, making the air smell like wet earth and old leaves. The kind of rain he used to call library weather, the sort that made you want to stay inside with books and thick socks. Now, as a visiting speaker invited for a guest lecture, he found himself back where it had all started. His suitcase bumped along the gravel, and he passed the same ivy-covered walls, the same crooked lampposts that once lit his midnight walks home after long study sessions, or longer nights out. At the heart of the university stood the old library, its arched windows glowing warmly from the inside. He paused, watching silhouettes move between the shelves. It looked just the same. Time hadn't touched it, but Daniel had changed. Back then, he was 20 and full of contradictions, shy but curious, hopeful, yet terrified of failure. He'd arrived from the States with a single duffel bag, a half-finished novel in his laptop, and the foolish belief that he would conquer the literary world by the time he was 25. And then he met Elliot. Elliot was his flatmate in the creaky student house on Sycamore Lane, a Londoner with a talent for guitar and a laugh that could be heard across the quad. He studied philosophy, wrote songs in the margins of his textbooks, and insisted that Plato was just a more poetic bartender. They became inseparable, spending nights debating meaning and mornings rushing to class half awake. Their house was a mess of mismatched mugs, lecture notes, and takeout boxes, but it felt like home. On weekends, they'd walk to the edge of town to a hidden pub called the Lantern, where the owner let them play old records and serve their own pints if they stayed after hours. There was Margot, too, French exchange student, studying film and always behind a camera. She had this quiet intensity that made you feel like she was filming you even when she wasn't. Daniel had been quietly in love with her for most of second year, and she knew it, but never said a word. She just smiled, that knowing kind of smile. One spring evening, the three of them sat on the roof of their house, watching the clouds roll over the hills. Elliot played a song he had written, and Margot filmed it. Daniel remembered thinking, this is it. This is what people write novels about. But like all beautiful things, it didn't last forever. Margot left for a film internship in Berlin. Elliot graduated and disappeared into the chaos of London's creative world. Daniel stayed one more year to finish his thesis, watching the town slowly grow quieter without them. Now, as he stepped into the guest flat in the college's faculty wing, he noticed a note on the desk. Handwritten, familiar slanted script. Welcome back, stranger. I heard you were speaking this week. Pint at the Lantern? E. Daniel stared at the note for a moment, heart full and slightly aching. He had so many questions. Where had the time gone? Were they still the same? Would anything feel as real as those years did? Later that evening, he walked through the fog to the Lantern. The pub was older but unchanged, dark wood, golden lights, the low hum of voices. And there, at the end of the bar, was Elliot. Same eyes, a few gray strands, and that same unmistakable laugh. They talked for hours about what they'd done, what they'd lost, who they had become. They spoke of Margot, too, how her films were showing in Paris now, and how she once told Elliot that their time in Ashmere was the most honest part of her life. When Daniel finally stepped back out into the night, he paused beneath the old lamppost. The drizzle had stopped. The silence was thick and comforting. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel like he was chasing a memory. He was living in it,